Welcome, everyone. You are listening to Off the Record, the show where we take the vast, overwhelming, and frankly chaotic sea of information out there, distill it down to its purest essence, and pour you a glass of absolute clarity.
A very large glass today, it seems.
Oh, absolutely. I am thrilled you are here with us today, because
Okay.
today we are embarking on a truly fascinating auditory journey. We are going to explore how a single, bizarre, completely unexpected pop song from 1972 just entirely shattered the fundamental rules of human language.
Right.
And in the process of breaking those rules, it exposed the absolute illusion of global pop music.
It's incredible.
It is a story about phonetics, about culture, about the hidden mechanics of the human mind, and, the tricks our brains play on us every single day without us even realizing it.
It really is a brilliant case study. When you look at the source materials we are working with today, you quickly realize we are standing at this intersection of rigorous linguistics, post-war sociology, and early 70s funk music.
A beautiful combination.
It really is. It's an incredibly rich topic. It forces you, the listener, to question the very nature of how you hear the world around you. Like, are you actually understanding the words people say, or are you just grooving to the rhythm of their voices?
Precisely. It's a question of perception versus reality. And to accompany such a rich, complex, and deeply Italian topic, our director, Ryan Thomas, has curated a highly specific beverage for us.
Highly specific is one way to put it.
Right. Ryan insists, and I use the word insist because he practically locked us in the studio with the bottle, that to truly understand the Italian cultural context of today's subject, we must immerse our palates in the region's most aggressive export.
Aggressive is the perfect word.
So, sitting in front of us right now are two very large glasses of a deeply authentic and, I must say, incredibly stiff Italian grappa.
Yeah, for those of you who've never had grappa, it is a pomace brandy. It smells vaguely like industrial solvent mixed with a beautiful rustic vineyard.
That is painfully accurate.
Right. It's made by distilling the skins, the pulp, the seeds, and the stems left over from winemaking. It is the epitome of European resourcefulness and, frankly, high-proof punishment.
It really is.
But I appreciate the dedication to the theme. Cheers to you and cheers to the listener.
Cheers.
Oh, wow. That is deeply aggressive.
Good Lord, that burns all the way down to the moral center of my soul.
Yeah, that is not messing around.
Okay, well, the burn means it's working. Now, before we unpack the genius of 1970s Italian pop, I have a slight administrative duty to attend to.
Oh, goddess.
Yeah, Ryan Thomas, in his infinite, unassailable wisdom as the director of this program, has mandated that each episode of Off the Record must now feature a brand new, original catchphrase.
I hate this so much.
He believes this is essential for, quote, brand synergy and listener retention metrics, unquote. So reading directly from Ryan's heavily highlighted notes here, with as much professional enthusiasm as I can possibly muster for this exact moment, let's come together.
Are you completely serious right now? That is what he wrote on the paper.
It is bolded, it is underlined, and it is followed by 3 exclamation points. Let's come together.
That is the most ridiculous, juvenile, completely nonsensical thing I have ever heard in my professional career.
I know.
I mean, I am looking through the glass right now, and Ryan is sitting there in the control room, giggling like a middle school boy who just discovered a dirty word in the dictionary.
He looks so proud of himself.
I completely refuse to endorse that. It makes 0 sense contextually for a show about deep intellectual analysis.
But we have to say it.
Fine. We will play along for now because he controls the microphones. But while we are doing administrative duties, let me smoothly pivot away from whatever catastrophic branding exercise that was and remind you, the listener, to please head over to YouTube right now and find our official channel.
Yes, please do.
The channel is called HAMOTR. That is HAMM-OTR. You need to like and subscribe to the channel.
Like and subscribe.
It helps us keep the lights on. It helps us keep doing these deep dives. And perhaps if we get enough subscribers and monetization revenue, we can buy out Ryan's contract and fire him into the sun.
Like and subscribe, folks. HRMOTR. Okay. Now let us wash that catchphrase out of our mouths with some actual intellect. Let's get into the topic.
Please.
Imagine, if you will, putting on a record. You drop the needle. The groove kicks in. It is a tight, incredibly funky beat.
So
Horns are flaring in the background. A very prominent, heavy bass line gets your head nodding, and then the singer comes in. To your ears, it sounds exactly like an American pop song.
Right.
The rhythm of the words, the attitude, the vowels, the cadence, it all perfectly seamlessly scans as English. You were tapping your foot. You were vibing with it.
Right.
But if you sit down and actually try to transcribe the lyrics, you realize you can't.
Nope.
Because the singer isn't speaking English.
Right.
In fact, they aren't speaking any language at all.
What you are describing is the absolute ultimate linguistic prank. We are talking about a track called Prisencolinensinainciusol.
Say that again.
Prisencolinensinainciusol. And yes, the spelling is exactly as absurd, long, and chaotic as the sound. Prisencolinensinainciusol.
Wow.
Yeah. It was released in 1972 by an Italian singer, actor, and performer named Adriano Celentano.
Okay, let's unpack this concept because it is so deeply layered and fascinating. What exactly was Celentano trying to achieve here? Was it just a joke, or was there a methodology to the madness?
Oh, there was an intense methodology.
Yeah.
The core concept of Prisencolinensinainciusol was to create an experimental pop single that functioned entirely on the illusion of language.
Illusion of language.
Exactly. Celentano wanted to design a song that sounded exactly like American English to non-English speakers, but contained absolutely zero semantic meaning. None.
Not a single word.
Not a single real word from any natural human language in the entire track. It was a deliberate, highly calculated exploration of how language is perceived through sheer sound rather than through meaning. He was essentially running a massive public test on the human brain's pattern recognition software.
So he is imitating the rhythm, the phonetics, and what linguists call the prosody of American English.
Exactly correct. Prosody is the absolute crucial element here. For the listener, prosody is the tune and rhythm of speech. It encompasses the pitch, the loudness, the tempo, and the rhythm of how we talk.
Right.
When you hear people speaking a foreign language that you absolutely do not know, you're primarily hearing its prosody.
No.
You don't know what the words mean, but you can hear the cadence.
The music of it.
Exactly, the music. You can hear where they place the stresses, the rising pitch at the end of a question, the falling pitch at the end of a statement. Celentano isolated the specific prosody of American English and mapped it onto complete and utter gibberish.
Here is where it gets really, really interesting to me. It highlights the profound difference between hearing and understanding. Our brains are incredibly desperate to find patterns, right?
Wonderfully.
We are pattern-seeking machines. So when first-time listeners hear this track, even native English speakers, by the way, their immediate instinctual assumption isn't that this is nonsense. Their assumption is, oh, this is just heavily accented. Or the audio quality of this 1970s recording is a bit muddy. Or this guy just has really poor articulation and a weird singing style. The brain desperately tries to fill in the gaps to make the sound fit a known pattern.
It is auditory pareidolia. You know how people look at a cloud and see a face, or look at a piece of burnt toast and see the Virgin Mary?
Yeah, visual pareidolia.
Exactly. The brain hates randomness. It forces structure onto chaos. Celentano created the auditory equivalent of that. It's a perceptual ambiguity that serves as the core artistic mechanism of the entire piece.
Wow.
You hear a sound that your brain categorizes broadly as English based on the rhythm and the instrumentation. So your brain frantically searches its mental database, its internal lexicon, for words that fit the phonetic shapes being presented. You are hearing the architecture of the English language without any of the actual furniture inside the building.
I mean, think about it from a daily life perspective. Have you ever caught yourself humming along to something, completely vibing with a song on the radio, feeling the emotion of it, without actually knowing a single lyric?
All the time.
You just make up sounds that fit the rhythm? It's like Simlish, right? From the video game The Sims.
Well, that's a perfect example.
You hear the little characters talking to each other. It sounds exactly like communication. There is clear emotion and tone. They sound angry or flirty or sad, but the language itself is entirely fabricated.
Simlish is actually a fantastic modern parallel for what Celentano was doing. The audio directors and voice actors for The Sims specifically designed that language so they wouldn't have to translate the game into dozens of different localized languages, which would have cost a fortune.
Right. The localization costs would be insane.
But more importantly, they did it so players wouldn't get annoyed by hearing the exact same repetitive dialogue lines over and over again. They wanted the feeling of conversation without the specific repetitive content. They wanted the emotional legibility of speech without the semantic burden.
Emotional legibility, I love that phrase.
Celentano did the exact same thing, but he did it as a piece of high-concept pop art 30 years earlier.
I'm going to take another sip of this grappa. It is, wow, it really lingers on the palate, doesn't it? It's like drinking a very aggressive, very angry campfire.
It is essentially fiery grape water meant to strip paint off a tractor.
Yeah.
But yes, it is quite robust. Drink up. Ryan insists on authenticity.
taking a step back and really thinking about this concept, it's actually incredibly sad.
Sad. How is a funky 1970s Italian pop track sad?
Just the overarching idea of walking around the world, speaking a language that nobody truly understands. Are we all just singing fake English to each other?
Oh, wow. We're going deep already.
Think about it. We spend so much of our lives projecting sounds, projecting our feelings, trying so hard to articulate our inner worlds, hoping the person sitting across from us decodes it correctly, but so often they don't. They're just hearing the rhythm. They're just hearing the prosody of our pain. They nod along, they smile, they react to the tone, but they don't actually understand the deep semantics of what we're saying.
That is wow.
We're all just Adriano Celentano standing in the middle of a crowded room, shouting absolute gibberish into a microphone, hoping anyone nods along to the beat and pretends they get it.
That is a strangely poetic, highly dramatic, and deeply melancholic way to look at an experimental pop song. But intellectually, there is a fundamental truth to that emotional isolation you're describing.
Right.
We do rely heavily on tone over substance in daily communication. Albert Moravian's famous rule, though often misinterpreted, suggests that a massive percentage of our communication is nonverbal, relying on tone of voice and body language rather than the actual words spoken.
Exactly.
When the words fail, the tone is all we have. Your comedic sadness about this is strangely endearing when you frame it as an existential crisis of communication.
Thank you. I try to find the profound tragedy hidden inside the funk. It's a gift of mine.
It really is.
But if we pull back from my sudden wave of existential dread for a moment, making fake English actually sound authentically American to a global audience is incredibly difficult.
Extremely.
It's not just babbling like a baby. You can't just mash your lips together. There is a highly specific, rigorous linguistic architecture he had to invent to pull this prank off and make it convincing.
Right, and this leads us perfectly into the actual mechanics of the track. Let's look at the linguistic design because it is brilliant. Celentano couldn't just stand in the vocal booth and say blip, blop, bloop, bloop, bork.
Right, that sounds like a cartoon alien.
It sounds like a broken robot. He built the lyrics using very specific, carefully invented phone clusters.
For the listener who might not have taken a Linguistics 101 class recently, let's define that. A phoneme being the smallest unit of sound in a spoken language that can distinguish one word from another, like the P sound in tap versus the T sound in tab.
That's exactly correct. And English, specifically the American English broadcast globally through rock and roll, has a very distinct sonic fingerprint. We use what is called a strong, stress-timed rhythm.
Stress-timed rhythm.
Yeah, in stress-time languages, syllables may last different amounts of time, but there is perceived to be a fairly constant, even amount of time between consecutive stressed syllables. It gives English its distinct, bouncy, somewhat aggressive forward momentum.
Okay, I see what you mean.
If you compare it to a language like French or Italian or Japanese, which are primarily syllable time, meaning every syllable gets roughly the same amount of time and weight, English sounds very punchy. It's a drum beat. Dum-dum-dum-dum-dum.
So to make it sound American, he had to completely abandon his native Italian rhythm. He had to nail that specific American bounce.
He absolutely nailed the bounce. The syncopation of his delivery is flawless.
Yeah.
But beyond the rhythm, he also heavily utilized open vowel sound.
Open vowel.
When you think of American pop singing, especially in the realms of rock, soul, and R&B, it relies on these wide, drawn-out, resonant, open vowels. Think of a classic soul singer belting out a note.
Like Aretha.
Exactly. It's a very full-mouthed, expansive way of speaking and singing. Alongside those wide vowels, he used consonant clusters that mimic English. Italian generally prefers consonant vowel structures.
Like Roma or Milano.
Right. English, on the other hand, absolutely loves throwing a bunch of consonants together into a massive pile. Think of a word like strengths. S-T-R-E-N-G-T-H-S.
That is a terrifying word, actually.
It is a terrifying cluster of consonants for a non-native speaker. Celentano imitated that density in his gibberish.
The source text we're analyzing mentions the term pseudo-lexical structures. Let's define that for the listener because it's a great term.
A pseudo-lexical structure, or logotome, is a string of spoken sounds that has the exact shape, rhythm, and mouthfeel of a real word, but is completely empty of meaning.
So it sounds real, but it's not.
Right. It obeys all the phonetic and phonotactic rules of the language. So when your brain hears it, your auditory cortex accepts it as a perfectly valid potential word. It just happens to be a word that doesn't exist in the dictionary. Psychologists use them all the time in memory and language tests.
And the title of the song is the prime example of this pseudo-lexical genius. Okay, let me try to pronounce this again, slowly. Prisencolinensinainciusol. Prisencolinensinainciusol.
You're getting it.
It's like, it gets you slightly tongue-tied at first, but once you find the rhythm, it feels incredibly good in the mouth. It flows. Prisencolinensinainciusol.
You're actually pronouncing it beautifully. It sounds like a highly expensive prescription-only medication you'd take for a very specific type of gastrointestinal indigestion.
Ask your doctor if Prisencolinensinainciusol is right for you.
Exactly.
Side effects may include speaking in tongues, auditory hallucinations, and the spontaneous manifestation of funky 1970s bass lines in your living room.
I take that pill.
Right, but wait, let me push back on something you said a moment ago. If the broad, open vowel sounds are what fundamentally make it sound American to the rest of the world, does that mean American culture is perceived globally as just wide open mouths and loud, sustained noise?
From a purely phonetic and cultural stereotype standpoint, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
American English is very often described by non-speakers as sounding like people chewing on hot potatoes or loudly slurring wide, aggressive sounds together.
Chewing on hot potatoes.
It's very resonant, very vocalic, and culturally, it's perceived as loud and unapologetic. It takes up a lot of sonic space.
I think the grappa is really hitting my bloodstream now, because suddenly the phrase open vowel sounds feels very, very personal to me.
Oh boy, here we go. I can see your eyes getting glassy. What is happening?
No, listen to me. Think about it metaphorically. Open vowels, you have to physically open your mouth. You have to project from your chest. You have to be unshielded. It's a vulnerable physical act.
Okay, I see where this is going.
I was just in this relationship, a few months ago, and I felt like I was constantly, endlessly giving him open vowels.
Oh.
I was open, I was vulnerable, I was projecting my emotional truth with this beautiful stress-timed rhythm, just desperately trying to connect with him on a human level. And what was he giving me?
I don't know. What was he giving you?
He was giving me nothing but closed, syllable-timed, restrictive consonants. Just walls, just harsh K, T, P sounds blocking me out, voiceless stops. He was a human voiceless stop.
Are we analyzing the phonetics of a 1972 Italian pop song?
Yeah.
Or are we psychoanalyzing your emotionally unavailable ex-boyfriend right now?
I'm just saying, Celentano understood the inherent vulnerability of the American open vowel. He knew it sounded authentic and raw. He knew it was entirely fake in his song, but he used it to manipulate us.
I mean,
just like my ex used my open vowels against me, he manipulated my pseudo-lexical structures and left me with nothing but empty semantics.
Okay. Let's take a deep breath. I am actually getting quite annoyed on your behalf now, but mostly, I am deeply annoyed at Ryan Thomas.
Ryan is to blame for everything.
Because Ryan's drink choices always do this to us. He gives us hard, high-proof, unfiltered liquor on an empty stomach, and within 25 minutes, you are emotionally dissecting your failed romantic relationships using advanced phonetic terminology.
It's a valid comparison.
Ryan, if you can hear us through the glass, you are a menace. You are a menace to this show's academic structure. You are deliberately trying to break us down for entertainment.
It's not Ryan's fault that my heart is a semantically empty pop song. It's just a lonely groove looking for a melody.
Listen to me. Look at me across the table.
Yeah.
You have beautiful open vowels, okay?
Do I?
Yes. Don't let anyone, especially not some emotionally stunted, voiceless stop of an ex-boyfriend, tell you otherwise. Your vowels are resonant, they are gorgeous, and they project beautifully.
Really? You honestly think my vowels are gorgeous?
They're the most gorgeous vowels I've heard all week. You have excellent prosody. Now, please, take a sip of water, pace yourself with the grappa. We have a show to run, and we are barely a third of the way through the material.
Oh, right. The show. Off the record. Wait, what was I saying before my ex-boyfriend invaded my brain?
You were going to do the plug.
Oh, the plug. I need to do the YouTube plug again. Ryan wrote that I have to do it twice. Everyone, go to HamOTR on YouTube. Just fucking like and subscribe, you guys.
Beautifully said.
We're giving you absolute gold here on Off the Record. Where else on the entire internet are you going to get deeply personal relationship advice based on the linguistic breakdown of Italian gibberish from 1972?
Literally nowhere.
Nowhere. Nobody else is doing this level of analysis. Just hit the subscribe button so we can survive.
Very professional. Flawless execution. Let me take a sip of this. God, this grappa is basically gasoline. Okay, to try and save whatever educational structure we have left, let's pivot away from the vocals and talk about the music itself.
The music.
Because the vocal illusion, all these brilliant pseudo-lexical phones and American-style vowel projections we just discussed, they wouldn't work at all if the music backing them up wasn't absolutely flawless. The illusion relies entirely, 100%, on the groove.
Let's talk about the groove, because the groove on this track is undeniable. It forces you to move.
It really does. Musically, the track is an absolute masterclass in early 1970s funk, soul, and pop instrumentation. The arrangement is driven by this incredibly prominent, infectious, repetitive bass line.
It's so good.
It hooks you immediately. Underneath that, you have a very steady, driving, syncopated drum groove. And then punctuating the rhythm, you have these sharp, incredibly tight horn accents.
The horns really sell it.
They do. The whole stylistic choice perfectly reflects contemporary American R&B and funk influences of that exact era. It sounds like something that could have come out of a studio in Detroit or Memphis.
Plus, the music itself is acting as the Trojan horse.
Exactly. That is the perfect analogy, the Trojan horse. The instrumentation convinces the brain that it is listening to an authentic, high-budget, high-quality American pop record long before the vocals even start.
Because you recognize the sound.
Yes. Your brain hears the bass, the snare drum, the horns, and it instantly categorizes the audio. I know what this is. This is American R&B. I know how this works. The context is firmly set. So when the fake English vocals finally come in, your brain is already perfectly primed to accept them as real English.
It's setting the stage. It's framing the painting. If Celentano had sung this exact same phonetic gibberish over, like, a traditional Italian tarantello with an accordion, or over a piece of Baroque classical music, nobody would have thought it was English.
Not a chance.
They wouldn't have been tricked. They would have just thought he was having a severe psychological episode in the studio.
Precisely. Context completely dictates perception. But crucially, it's not just the backing track itself. It's how Celentano chooses to deliver the vocals over that backing track.
Oh, this is the best part.
He abandons traditional melodic singing. Instead, he adopts this highly rhythmic, heavily syncopated, almost aggressively percussive delivery. It is an almost rap-like vocal performance.
Wait a minute. Stop. 1972.
Yes, 1972.
Oh, he's rapping in Italy in 1972.
Effectively, yes. He is heavily predating hip-hop's mainstream emergence by several years. The phrasing he uses is intentionally exaggerated. He's not trying to hit beautiful melodic lines. He is highlighting the inherent musicality of human speech itself.
Wow.
He's using his voice purely as a percussive instrument. He is riding the beat, finding the pocket, and hitting the rhythmic accents perfectly.
This is actually really upsetting me. I'm getting very upset right now.
Why is this upsetting you? What is happening?
Because it's a profound tragedy. Think about it. Think about the historical weight of this. This random Italian guy in 1972 accidentally invents a absolutely flawless hip-hop flow. He beats everyone to it. He discovers the rhythmic pocket of vocal delivery that will literally define the next 50 years of global popular music. And how does he use this groundbreaking discovery? He does it with absolute total nonsense.
Well, it wasn't a waste. It was...
He didn't even use real words. It's a beautiful, stupid, heartbreaking tragedy. It's like inventing the airplane, but you made it out of graham crackers just as a joke for a party, and you didn't realize you could have flown across the ocean.
I mean, we need to be careful here academically. I wouldn't say he invented hip-hop. The roots of hip-hop are deeply, inextricably embedded in African-American culture, the Bronx block parties, and Jamaican sound system toasting traditions.
Right, of course.
Those are the true origins. But from a purely stylistic, rhythmic vocal delivery standpoint on a mainstream European pop record, yes, it is remarkably prescient. The phrasing is undeniably proto-rap. It's a fascinating historical anomaly.
It's just so unfair to the universe. He could have been spitting bars. He could have been dropping profound philosophical truths about the human condition. He had the flow.
It did have the flow.
Instead, he's just going Prisencolinensinainciusol. All right, it's a waste of a historic groove.
Well, the music is the only thing that matters here. Wait, no, that's wrong. I messed that up.
Did you?
Yeah, the words don't matter, but the delivery matters. The sound of the words matters more than the words themselves.
Shit. This grappa is it is aggressively doing something to my cognitive processing centers right now. I feel like my frontal lobe is swimming.
You're slurring a little bit, just a tiny bit on the S sounds.
I am absolutely not slurring. I am simply experiencing a temporary alcohol-induced degradation of my consonant clusters.
Sure you are.
And it is entirely because of Ryan Thomas. Ryan, you pretentious corporate hack, who forces their podcast hosts to drink massive quantities of grappa on an empty stomach while attempting to rigorously discuss phonetic art pop and sociolinguistics.
He's evil. We established this.
Only a complete sociopath. He wants us to fail. He wants us to sound stupid.
Ryan is a monster. Yes, we know this.
Yeah.
But let's be honest. He has incredibly good taste in prominent bass lines. That bass line is thick. You know what? Let me just say it. A prominent, well-mixed bass line is significantly more dependable than most men I've dated in the last 5 years.
Oh my God. We are back to this again. Are we returning to the tragic dating life? Yes, we are. Because a bass line is there for you. A bass line holds the foundation of the song.
I mean, literally, yes.
A bass line doesn't text you at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday saying, "You up?" and then completely ghost you for 3 weeks when you try to establish basic communication. A bass line is consistent.
It is very consistent.
A bass line supports the groove of your entire life. It doesn't ask for emotional labor without returning it. I just want a man who acts like an early 70s funk bass line. Is that too much to ask the universe for?
It is not too much to ask. You are a wonderful person, and you deserve a solid, dependable bass line. You deserve steady, committed drum grooves in your life. And honestly, looking at you right now, I'd never miss your horn accents.
Wait, did you just say you'd never miss my horn accents?
I did. I really did. And it sounded significantly smoother and much more romantic in my head before I actually said it out loud into a high-fidelity microphone.
Oh my God. That is the worst, most incredibly nerdy, terrible flirtation I have ever received in a professional studio setting. I'd never miss your horn accents. My God, we are a mess. We are a complete, unmitigated disaster right now. The listeners must think we are losing our mind.
We are doing great. This is top-tier analysis. We are not just breaking down a song. We are breaking down the human condition. We are peeling back the layers of the onion.
Okay. Let's pull it together. Deep breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Let's try to do a serious pivot. I can do this. Watch my transition. It's going to be flawless.
Let's hear it.
So, okay, let's unpack this. Why did an Italian guy want to sound American anyway? What is the deeper historical and philosophical point here? Why not just sing in Italian?
Okay, yes, that is actually a very good transition. You pulled it off. Let's look at the broader cultural context, because this is where the song elevates from a novelty joke to a profound piece of art.
It's more than a joke.
Much more. This song isn't just a funny phonetic prank. It is a direct, sharp commentary on the absolute unyielding dominance of English in global pop culture and the disturbing separation between sound and meaning in mass media.
Give me the history. Set the scene for the listener. What was Italy like in the 60s and early 70s?
Right, so we are looking at the post-World War II era. After the war, American media completely and utterly saturates Europe. You have the Marshall Plan, which brings massive economic aid to rebuild these countries, but alongside the money, it also brings a tidal wave of American culture.
Hollywood rock and roll.
Exactly. Hollywood movies, jazz music, rock and roll, R&B, denim jeans, Coca-Cola. Suddenly, the global standard for what is considered cool, modern, and youthful is distinctly American.
Right.
For an Italian artist working in the 60s and 70s during the Italian economic boom, you are competing in a domestic market where everyone, especially the youth, wants to listen to imported American records. And here is the kicker. They want to listen to them even if they don't understand a single literal word being sung.
Right. So Celentano is looking around the clubs in Milan and Rome, and he's seeing his fellow Italians buying these expensive imported records, dancing to them in discotheques, worshiping these American artists, mimicking their style, but they are completely blind to the semantics.
Yeah.
They are singing along to the phonetic sounds without knowing what they're declaring.
Exactly. It's a form of cultural imperialism through rhythm. Celentano was demonstrating that to non-English speakers, American pop was literally just unintelligible rhythmic noise. But they bought it anyway.
Because it sounded cool.
Yes. They consumed it voraciously because of the vibe. The song is a brilliant, slightly cynical indictment of how mass consumer media trains listeners to decode language based on cultural expectation rather than actual linguistic comprehension. He's mocking the audience, but he's also proving how easily they can be manipulated.
It's exactly like going to a modern electronic dance music festival. Have you been to one of these massive raves lately, like Tomorrowland or EDC?
Not since my mid-20s, when I developed a very healthy respect for my eardrums and a deep hatred for standing in muddy fields. but I know the environment.
Well, you go to these things and there is a DJ up on a massive stage surrounded by lasers, and they grab the microphone and they're shouting something completely blown out and distorted by the massive speakers. WUB, WUB, something, something, put your hands up, jump.
Yeah, you can't hear a word.
And the crowd of 50,000 people doesn't actually know what they said. They don't care about the semantics. They just wait for the beat to drop. The words are just another percussive element, a signal to the brain that the bass is about to hit. We are all just cattle reacting to a bass line. We are being herded by frequencies.
We are cattle. That's exactly it. Oh my God, we are blowing this wide open right now. This is the greatest sociological insight in human history.
I know.
Human beings do not actually care about profound meaning. They only care about neurological stimulus. The entire structure of society is built on vibing to the stimulus.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God, we are so incredibly smart right now. This is the best episode of Off the Record we have ever recorded. We are operating on a higher plane of consciousness.
We are peeling back the very layers of reality. Celentano proved 50 years ago that reality is an illusion constructed by rhythm and open vowels. Nothing matters but the groove.
It is. It is all an illusion. And you know what? This is exactly what I've been trying to tell my family for years.
Wait, what? Your family? How does your family fit into the illusion of global pop music?
Yes, my family. Every single time I go home for the holidays, I try to set healthy adult boundaries. I go to therapy, I learn the vocabulary, and I say the words. I use perfectly clear, unaccented English semantic structures.
Yeah.
Please do not ask me why I'm still single at Thanksgiving dinner. Please do not make passive-aggressive comments about my career choices in podcasting. I'm giving them incredibly clear, distinct lexical structures. I am communicating meaning.
You're being very clear.
But they don't listen to the semantics. They only listen to the tone of my voice. If my voice goes up even half an octave in frustration, they just hear the prosody and they say, oh, she's being dramatic again.
Oh, wow.
They decode my entire language based on their historical expectation of me as the emotional child, completely ignoring my actual comprehension and the meaning of my words.
That is wow. That is profoundly messed up. Your family is treating your clearly stated emotional boundaries like a 1970s Italian pop track.
Yes.
They're completely ignoring the lyrics and just projecting their own meaning onto your rhythm.
Exactly. They are just grooving right past my boundaries. They are dancing to the sound of my frustration.
Listen to me. Your boundaries are valid. The semantics of your life matter. You are not gibberish. You are a highly intelligent, articulate host, and you are a genius. This host is a genius.
Thank you. You're a genius, too. We're two geniuses drinking grappa.
And you know who doesn't understand this fundamental truth about communication? Ryan. Ryan Thomas doesn't understand semantics.
Ryan is a corporate fool.
Oh.
He has empty suits and spreadsheets.
This is why. The puzzle pieces are coming together. This is exactly why Ryan wants us to say that ridiculous, offensive catchphrase at the beginning of the show. What was it again?
Let's come together.
Yes, let's come together. He thinks he's making some profound, edgy, viral statement about community unity and podcast branding synergy, but he's not. It's just noise.
Just noise.
Like a pseudo-lexical structure of corporate marketing. It's just fucking semantics, Ryan. You're just throwing provocative words together, hoping we, the hosts and the listener, vibe with the edginess of it, but there is absolutely no meaning behind it. It is hollow. You are a fraud, Ryan. You are the Adriano Celentano of podcast directors, but without the funk.
Oh my God, you're going to get us fired. He is literally going to cut our microphones off.
I don't care. The grappa has given me absolute clarity. The illusion of global pop music is the exact same mechanism as the illusion of corporate podcast directing. It's all just fake English. It's all just people making sounds to assert dominance without saying anything real.
Okay. I need to lie down. The room is actually spinning just a little bit. The grappa has breached the hull.
No, stay with me. Do not pass out on me now. We have one more section on the outline. We have to finish the syllabus. Section 5, Legacy, Internet Culture, and the Truth About Pop. We have to bring it home for the listener.
Right, the listener. Hello, listener. Legacy. How do people view this absolute masterpiece today, half a century later?
Well, originally, at the time of its release in the early 70s, the song was heavily seen by critics as just novelty adjacent, a funny joke track, a gimmick. But over the decades, as cultural theory has evolved, it has rightfully gained intense recognition as a deeply conceptual, proto-postmodern work of art.
Proto-postmodern. Wow, that sounds so incredibly sexy when you say it with that authoritative tone.
Focus. Please, I'm begging you. I'm barely holding on to this academic thread right now. The room is spinning for me, too.
I'm focusing. I am completely locked in. Proto-postmodern work. Tell me about its resurgence. Go.
It has these massive cyclical resurgences through internet culture. Every few years, an entirely new generation discovers it on platforms like YouTube or TikTok. And they have the exact same reaction the original audience had in 1972.
They think it's English.
Right. Their brains literally break for a second. They experience the auditory illusion in real time. They think, is this a stroke? Am I having a stroke? And because of that viral curiosity, it is now literally studied in university linguistics classrooms. It's taught as a pioneering early example of phonetic art pop.
Phonetic art pop. That's beautiful. It really is art.
It is, and it's used extensively in cognitive studies regarding auditory pattern recognition. Scientists use it to see how quickly the human brain attempts to organize chaotic, meaningless noise into familiar, safe structures. It proves how desperate we are for meaning.
Auditory pattern recognition.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Auditory pattern recognition.
Why is that funny? What is happening in your brain right now?
I don't know. It just sounds like a very sad robot trying to learn how to love a human. Beep boop. Engaging auditory pattern recognition to detect affection.
Error. Affection not found. Reverting to voiceless stops.
Stop it. Stop. You're making me lose my train of thought. You are derailing the climax of the episode.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to be professional. Tell me the raw truth. The outline says you have to tell me the raw truth about pop. What?
The raw truth. Okay, listen. The raw truth is that the endurance of Prisencolinensinainciusol exposes a terrifying and beautiful fact about music. Pop music's global appeal depends entirely, 100%, on rhythm, timbre, and performance. Literal semantic content is mostly irrelevant to emotional legibility.
Wait, say that last part again. Slowly. Let it sink in.
Literal semantic content is mostly irrelevant to emotional legibility. You don't need to understand the words to feel the emotion. The vibe transcends the vocabulary. You don't need to understand to feel.
You don't need to understand to feel. Oh my God.
Are you actually crying? Are there tears in your eyes right now? I'm just weeping slightly. That is the most profoundly romantic thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
It's an academic observation about pop music demographics and market penetration.
No, it's not. It's about humanity. It's about the soul. You don't need to understand to feel. How many times in our messy, chaotic lives have we just needed someone to hold us, to sit next to us in the dark without needing them to understand the exact, logical, logistical breakdown of why we are sad?
I mean, that's true.
How many times have we just needed the emotional legibility of another human being? Not their words, just the timbre of their presence, just their prosody.
Okay, come here. It's okay.
Yeah.
You're okay. The grappa is making you overly sentimental and deeply philosophical.
I'm exhausted. My brain is exhausted. I'm so messy right now, I don't think I can read my notes anymore. The letters on the page are just floating around like pseudo-lexical structures. They don't mean anything.
We're almost done. You did great. We both did great. We uncovered the truth.
Let me try to reset the podcast one last time for the listeners.
Right.
Okay, moving on to the cultural impact. And I've lost it. I have completely and utterly lost my train of thought. It is gone.
Let it go. The train has left the station, it has derailed, and it is currently crashing into a grappa distillery in the heart of Milan.
I really love recording off the record with you. I really do.
Even though we are currently a complete unprofessional disaster.
Especially because we are a disaster. You're so incredibly smart. You know everything about phonies, and you fiercely defended my open vowels against my ex-boyfriend.
I will always defend your vowels. You have great vowels. Honestly, I hate Ryan Thomas with a burning, white-hot passion, but I love recording this show just because I get to sit here across this table from you and listen to you talk. Even when you are completely drunk, rambling about 70s bass lines and your tragic dating life.
Are we heavily flirting right now on a recorded microphone?
I am fairly certain we have been heavily aggressively flirting for the last 55 minutes.
Good. That's good. Engaging auditory pattern recognition.
Yeah.
Affection detected.
Stop. We have to do the outro. Wrap it up before Ryan actually cuts the feed.
Okay, wrap up time, listeners. You, the person sitting in traffic or doing the dishes or whatever you are doing, we hope you have enjoyed this absolute descent into madness today on Off the Record. We started with a 1972 Italian pop song, and we ended up dissecting the fundamental failure of human communication and the beauty of just vibing.
We learned today that your brain is a liar. that American English sounds like loud, aggressive chewing to the rest of the world, and that the groove is the only universal truth left in this chaotic universe.
Yes, the groove is truth. We agree aggressively on this point.
Aggressively agreeing.
So, before we finally sign off and I go find a soft couch in the lobby to pass out on my wonderful, brilliant, angry expert, give the listener one final provocative thought. Give them something to chew on while they go about their day.
Gladly.
Yeah.
Listener, hear me out. If an Italian guy in the 1970s can make us dance and make us feel a deep, vivid, emotional sense of American nostalgia using absolute, complete, fabricated gibberish verbiage, what does that say about the actual words we do use every single day?
Right.
Are we all just spitting out fake English to each other, hoping someone else catches our groove? Think about that deeply the next time you look at someone across the room and say, I love you. Are you actually saying the words with full semantic weight, or are you just playing the bass line, hoping they dance?
Oh, wow. That is beautiful. I am completely emotionally drained. I have absolutely nothing left to give to this microphone. Let's come together, everybody. Good night.
Go to AMOTR on YouTube and subscribe. Screw you, Ryan.
Turn the mics off. Seriously, turn them off.